Hi guys, I'm Nu-Trix the Synth guy, and this is the video about gear acquisition syndrome. I did one like a year ago, 2 years ago, actually no, yeah, 2 years ago, about G.A.S, gear acquisition syndrome. It's still here today. We still want to buy as much stuff as we can, and every time we see a new piece of gear going out, I'm gonna buy this. I would say there's like, of course, if you're a collector, you want to buy as much as you can. So go ahead, collect stuff, and it's fine. I'm not. I don't have any emotional relation to any stuff that I have. I can sell everything. I don't care. It's just these are just tools for me to make music. And when gas becomes a problem, it's where I'm at now. And that's why I decided to sell stuff. I'm going to explain. When you sit down in the studio and you can't wrap your mind around making a song because you don't know where to start because there are too much options, where you just look at it and say, how am I going to connect everything so it works? It's just every time you just add stuff, it makes it more complex for you to make your job, your music. If it's not a job, your hobby. I was just adding stuff to the studio as it went along, and around Christmas this year, it's in COVID lockdown, so nothing to do outside of staying home. I would say I was more in the studio than before because of that. Still, I made less music than before. I could not focus. Too much stuff. And so I went back to the essential. And I think that's the most important part, because I'm talking about this because I got these questions online about what am I selling? Why am I selling? Why am I changing stuff around? The notion is that the workflow is probably the most important part of your experience of making music. A workflow would help you decide what to do when and how to do what when and with what. When I'm saying like that, okay, I need a drum. Well, I understand somebody saying, I need a drum. Okay, either you buy a hardware drum or you get a software drum. And then what type of sound you want to do? It depends on you. So you're going to decide what you're going to buy. In my case, I sold my Volca Beats because I have the TR-8S. And I was looking at the Volca and I looked at it and say, I didn't do anything musically with that for the last 2 years. Let's get rid of it. If I didn't do anything for 2 years with that, it's not something that I go to. Get rid of it. So I sold it. I add a BassStation II, which is a great synthesizer that has even the capacity of having switching with the effect twin function. Just a crazy synth, and it's real analog. Sold it. One of the reasons is that my workflow is based on patterns. I work in a pattern way. I learned making music with drum machines in the 90s. So really pattern-based structure in my mind. So I sold my BassStation. And what's cool about hardware is I sold it for higher priced than actually buying back this. So this cost me less to buy it off Novation and Focusrite website, because they have a section about refurbished gear. And I'm okay with buying used stuff. And that was used, refurbished, buy them. And it cost me less than the price I got for selling my BassStation II. So honestly, I made money selling it and buying this. And the difference between what I bought about 3 years ago and the price I sold it, probably lost $50. So all around, hardware, if you buy the right pieces, so it's also part of what to buy. You know, the notion that you could sell it later on at a good price, so it didn't cost you too much. I know people who buy, Moog synthesizer, and they sell it after 3 years, and they basically lost nothing or almost nothing because the price stays high because these are good machines. So One of the notion also, on top of buying stuff that you feel is the right for you, for your workflow, is also buying something that will keep its value. So some companies have a higher resale value than others. Some piece of gear are more, you know, valued by buyers than other piece of gear. And some companies, of course, the resale value drops really quickly because they're not that well made, or the brand doesn't ring quality. You know, I'm not going to say names here, but there's some hardware that I would never buy because honestly, if I put $300 in it, I know it's going to be worth half that in like a year. So if I want to change it to do something else, I'm going to kind of be stuck with losing money. So that's one of the reasons I buy hardware, is because it's fun to play with, it's physical, but also it keeps value if you buy the right stuff. So I was thinking a lot about, okay, I sold my BassStation, I sold my Volca, I'm selling my Waldorf Rocket. It's on sale right now, so ring me up if you want to. And I'm going to sell my JP8000. Now, the JP8000 is a cool thing because now it went up in value, because now people are looking for the 90s type of sounds, and the JP8000 is kind of the, you know, classic 90s sound with the super saw and the feedback stuff. And it's a great synthesizer, but it's not that I don't like it. I love this thing, but I want to use the value it has to finance another synthesizer. And I'm going to buy another 8-voice polyphonic synthesizer, probably a System 8 from Roland. And I'm going to mostly have the same sound plus more. And in the new one I'm going to buy, like the System 8, it has its own sequencer because I work with patterns. So it all goes back to me and my workflow. That's why the Rocket is going, because I can't use a sequencer in there. There's its own step sequencer that you can't program, but it's perfect. Like it's an arpeggiator. It's not a step sequencer. So it's fun for people. But in my case, I want to be able to have, you know, a real sequencer, or a step sequencer at least, in all of my stuff, and work with pattern based. So that's my workflow. Doesn't mean it's yours. And I think that most people, if you're breaking down to having a drum, maybe a sampler, if that's your bag, a keyboard for the bass, maybe analog for the fun of it, maybe a lead, also could be analog or paraphonic, and maybe a synthesizer with chord and polyphonic. That would be like a great deal. Like, and maybe a couple of VEX, like distortion and delay, reverb, chorus, whatever it is. You would have a great piece to play music with. All of that could be in one box. If your workflow is to say, I want to learn one piece, because it will help me focus, because I'm just going to learn one piece of gear, then maybe something like this is perfect for you. This does everything. You got, you know, drum, bass, line, everything, the amount of tracks you can play. It's just like, and it sounds good. So maybe that's exactly what you want. In my way of working, it's not like that. I prefer to have separate stuff. Like this is gonna be drum and bass. I'm gonna give you a video soon about you making drums with it. It's just surprisingly cool. And this is analog, so. And I like hardware also that has the option of connection. So that's the next step for me, is to use these pieces of hardware to interconnect them in a fun way that they can interact other than just audio being sent in and out. The CV and gate can trigger stuff in the other synthesizers. So I'm looking into not a modular kit, but semi-modular in a way. So that's what I'm saying. It's just like, find a way to buy the stuff that fits your workflow. And that's the most important part. Second thing is that, how many of us know how to use our piece of gear or software up to even 50% of what it can do? Most of us don't, because we use a very select part of it, and it's done. Next step is learn your stuff. Learn your beat, your beatbox. Learn your synthesizer. Learn your software. Use what you have. You picked it up because you liked it. And if you find it too hard or you don't like it, get rid of it and buy something else. It makes it fun for you. Music, when we say we play music, it should be fun. So find the stuff that makes it fun for you. Learn it. And if you don't understand, ask around. Write to me about, I don't know how to do this. I'm going to try to figure out how to make it, either explain or point you to somebody who know how to explain it. But make the most of what you have. And then add stuff around to make it even better. To make the enjoyment of making music number one. It has to be fun. It has to be inspiring. You need to get out of it and say, I had fun. Even if I didn't release any song, and even if I didn't finish anything, I had a blast making and playing music for the night. And I was happy. Because I think there's like 3 types of people who buy synthesizers and use them. There's the collectors, people who just want to have them and play with them, and they're just happy with that. There's people who do music because they like to, make stuff, create electronic sound. They like to design their sounds and make scapes of sound and create their stuff. And there's people who want to make money out of it and make music. So there's different options. I personally find that all of these are good. There's no bad way. I mean, music is for everybody. Some people make a living out of it. Others are just, it's part of their lives, but it's not their income. They're just making music because they love it. It's like somebody doing painting or writing stories or taking pictures. It's part of what you need to feel complete. So find the workflow that's right for you. Don't be scared to use anything, software, hardware, whatever it is you have. Learn it and use it. And then if you feel you're missing on something, add to it. But add it with the notion of every time you add something, it's going to take you time to learn it, and it might break down your workflow. So think carefully about the next piece of hardware you want to have. In my case, I'm selling stuff to change around, but I'll keep you posted on what exactly do I buy and how much did I sell my stuff for, maybe. So that's it, guys. I hope this is kind of helpful. At the same time, I don't know, I may be just on a rent here, but I'm going through that process of selling stuff, and I feel better out of it. I'm just like happy to sell it. I'm just happy that this is gone, and I got money off of that, and I look at the money and say I can buy now something of that value, and it inspires me to go to the next piece. That's it. That's all. Stay safe. Make more music.